Empowering young people. The past few weeks, we have been looking at parenting and the impact of our parenting styles on our children. Today, we're looking at a big one, how we empower young people. Not only parents, but our schools, our government, our society. How do we empower young people to be responsible and contribute in the society? Good evening, everyone. It's Akwa here. We are in our 22nd show of Families Grow Together, and we're so happy to be with you tonight. We're extra excited because we have a young lady with us. She's gorgeous, she's industrious, she's respectful, she's intelligent, and she is very creative. And we will introduce her in a minute, but we want to say welcome to our co-host, Nelly.
Hello, Akwa. Hello, our guests. Hello, our audience. Welcome to number 22nd show. And today we're talking about empowering parents. I am Nelly Kwasunwe, a transformational life coach and a co-founder of Hand in Hand Community CIC. We are delighted to have you here today. So as usual, please, if you have any comments, any questions, put them in the chat, get your notebooks ready, because you will for certain get something that will be useful, because here we are dealing with empowering young people, and we have the young people side and the parent side. So be ready. I'll hand you over to Akwa so she can introduce our guests. Thank you.
Thank you, Nelly. And again, I am so excited this evening because this is the show where we have our first guest. So it's a first for us to have an extra person on the show. So Sue-Ange, you're blessing us, and we are honored to have you here. So our guest is called Sue-Ange Azinwi. She has a bachelor in medical physiology and therapeutics. She is a businesswoman. It's strange for me to call her a businesswoman because I only look at her as a young girl. So, but she is a businesswoman and an entrepreneur, and she is thriving and doing very well for herself. So today we're going to ask her a few questions about what she is doing, how she started doing what she's doing, and you'll get to know her. So hi, Sue-Ange, welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So we are glad and honored to have you here. I'll hand over to Nelly to introduce our topic of the day so that we get into the flow of things before we start asking our young lady how she came to do what she's doing.
Yeah, so for today, we're talking about empowering young people. So this word empowering is one of the buzzwords. You hear it everywhere. Empower, empowerment, empowering. But what does it mean actually? Is to give someone the authority or the power to do something. So every human being has the ability to do something. However, most of the time, people doubt themselves for whatever reason. So when we empower, we help these people to remember that they have so much potential, they have skills. They don't need to learn anything. It's just for them to remember because the skills are within them. They can learn additional skills, but they have the ability, the capability to learn the skills that they want. So empowerment means people having power and control over their own lives. So basically that's empowerment.
Thank you, Nelly. So, what are some of the challenges that young people face? We'll start with Nelly and then we'll go to Sue-Ange because she's a young person.
Yeah, I think in the past sessions, we've been talking about some of the challenges that children face as well as teenagers. Young people also have challenges because they are at that age where they don't know, they are not sure if they are children or they are adults. Like you just talked of struggling to address Sue Ange as a woman, because she's at that stage where, with that parenting eye, you still look at her to be that girl or that child. So young people, they find it really difficult because they want to be independent. They want to take responsibility. But again, is it appropriate? So that doubt, they start doubting because they have expectations, responsibilities from their families, from their parents, from school, from their society. So they are not too sure whether they have the potentials, they have the capability to meet up with the expectations and responsibilities given to them by external forces. Again, it is that stage where they are yet to know themselves. They are still discovering themselves and they are not too sure. So many responsibilities pull them out of themselves. So they don't even know that they can go within to really understand themselves, know what they are. They have peer pressure. What are they going to do? Are they going to listen to their friends and do just what their friends know, which means limiting them, or listen to other people, say people in authority who tell them they must do it? And sometimes it doesn't sit well with the young people, but then they feel obliged to do certain things, but they don't want to do it because they feel that they are pushed to doing something that probably does not match with their passion or does not match with what they really want to do. So they face a lot of challenges, and it really impacts on their emotional well-being. And then they develop coping strategies, which sometimes, unfortunately, the coping strategies they develop are unhealthy, which increases the challenges that they face. So there are just many different challenges. Some of the challenges could be institutionally based. Some, like, for when I talk about the Black and African community, we young people experience racism and discrimination, even in schools, even in colleges, at university levels, even when they start work. Looking at statistics, even getting employment, young people really struggle, especially from deprived backgrounds. They struggle. Housing, financially, those are all challenges that young people face.
Thank you, Nelly. Right, you have said a wide range of things. Now, I'll turn to Sue Ange and ask, do you identify with the things Nelly has said? Do you have any specific challenges that were particular to you, or is what she said common to all young people or to most young people?
I agreed with a lot of what my mom has said. I think, especially speaking to people around my age who have just graduated, a few topics that have come up in that a lot of people who have completed their degree actually want to go into the workforce that their degree is based around. And I think that comes from a lot of pressure. When they were applying for their degree, I don't think they had wide range of knowledge of other alternative things to go into. And also they probably had a lot of pressure from their parents. I know a lot of my friends have had a lot of pressure from their parents to go down, I want to say, the traditional job roles like lawyers, medicine, etc. But I think in the society that we're in right now, there's so many different opportunities to make money and to have different career paths. So I think on the parental side, instead of parents, I think pressurizing their children to go down specific traditional job roles, they should explore the things that their children are interested in and let them have time to develop and grow within those areas. But I mean, it's not to let them be astray from traditional job roles, but let them know that there are other alternatives and give them the type of environment where they feel comfortable exploring different tasks and different job roles too.
Thank you, Sue. And that is a real powerful answer that you've given here. You've said quite a few things that I'm going to pick on. You talked about the traditional roles and the roles of parents in encouraging or maybe pressurizing their children into going to these traditional roles. Now, we know that most parents coming from an African background emphasize the need for education. You have to go to university. And they don't often push the route of apprenticeship, for example, which is quite a very good option, depending on who the child is. So when we know our children, we know their capabilities. We sometimes know the kinds of things that they might excel in. And then on the other hand, there's some parents who do not know their children as much and do not know exactly what their interests are, like you just said, and they push them into these traditional roles. And sometimes they struggle to thrive because they're doing what their parents want and not what they really want. And you said something critical about parents listening to their children and exploring what their interests are so as to support them to get into the roles. Might be new. We know about people doing YouTube now and they have, or people being influencers on Instagram and they are millionaires, whereas we keep pushing education, be a doctor, be a lawyer, and these things. And so thank you for that response. It was really powerful. Now, did your parents encourage you to do what you're doing, to do the degree that you're doing? I know I was going out of script, but I'm asking this in response to your question. What kind of support did you get from your parents? They empower you to do what you wanted?
Without talking too much rubbish about my parents.
No, please don't.
I would say my dad definitely pushed me more towards the traditional educational roles. But I think in general, I've always been quite stubborn, so I will always do what I feel like will be best for me anyway. So it's a matter of they can say their opinions to me, but I can listen to it, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I will follow it. I think I know myself quite well, and I know the things that I'll be good at and things that I won't enjoy. So instead of really taking on absolutely everything that they said, I would take it with a pinch of salt and still do what would interest me. Because I don't even think they knew the degree that I was doing for a good few months. Even I don't think my mom even knows the full title properly by herself. So it's one of them where you can still understand and listen to what they say, because education is still very important. But yeah, you still need to be able to make your own decisions.
Thank you for that answer. I love the fact that you're an independent young woman. Now, when we talk about stubbornness, sometimes we always look at it in a negative. Stubbornness is not always negative. Stubbornness can be you having that focus and being and that strong will to be able to pursue the desires and the dreams that you have. And thank you for being honest with us and sharing that. Even though your parents gave you advice, you knew what was best for you and you went for it and now you're thriving. So thank you for that. Nelly, what do you have to say to all this?
I agree. It's really true, like just relating to what Sohan has said. Parents, myself, coming from an African background or coming from Africa, we had limited options. Because even myself, when I came to the UK and I was doing my undergraduate, I was aware of like 2 courses that I could do, but I was blown away when I started uni, and then I found out that there were just so many options. So I think one of the things from what Sue has said that I really 100% agree with is our lack of awareness on what options are out there. And it's just for parents to be open, visit the careers department, because they know a lot. And there's just so much, so much. So yes, I don't know if I've answered it.
Thank you, Nelly. I am like you as well, coming from the traditional background where you're encouraged to do certain subjects. That is true. And one thing that we as parents sometimes struggle with is lack of knowledge and lack of awareness of where to go to find help. So we live in a society where there is a lot of help out there. and we're not aware of the potentials and the possibilities that are available for our children. And as such, we guide and direct them to the things that we know and that we think are going to be best for them. So thank you for that. Now, let us go to the next question. This is a bigger one. How is the government responding to the challenges that young people face?
Yeah, I think for that one, like we can see, there's a lot of projects going on what the government is doing, because the government is linked into it one way or the other, because the government wants to produce a workforce, an active workforce, and like the young people now, they are the ones who will be ruling in the next few years. So for instance, there's the NCSC, which Sue-Ann attended. You attended the NCS. Which one did you attend? Anyway. Okay.
National Youth Service.
Yeah. That one is an initiative that that is being used to empower young people. You have this one is not the government. You have like the Duke of Edinburgh. There are so many projects on well-being, welfare, financial awareness. There are lots and lots of projects. I can't even list the projects. There are bursaries that are being given to young people. You can name them. There are just so many that the government has put in place. It's so wide that if you don't look for a specific one, you will not even know, because there are just so many of them. But there's a lot of input from the government to support young people.
Right. So thank you, Nelly, for that. Sue-Ann, did you receive any support that was particularly geared at empowering young people when you were doing your course?
At university?
Yes.
Not related to my business?
No, we'll come to your business afterwards. We're talking about the education side first.
Besides the government funding, student finance, I didn't really receive much support.
Right. What about guidance, counseling, and things like that from the tutors?
My university made a few modules compulsory, where you had to see the guidance counselor and have like a signed note from them that you'd had a meeting with them. We had to make sure, like part of a portfolio would be to like make sure we visited the welfare center, we visited the careers department. So my course, I can't speak for every course in different places, but I know my course made sure that we did them kind of activities.
Right, so you knew where to get help if you needed help.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Right,
yeah.
So
I think that's a main thing, because if they know where to, if young people know where to get help, they can get it. It's very difficult if they don't know what help is available. So that's another issue. But knowing where it is, if you don't ask for it, no one will come to you to define what you struggle with. So it's you know yourself, you know what you're struggling with, you approach wherever the help is being offered and you ask for it. So it's necessary to know where to go to for help, and then have that
confidence,
have that
drive,
push yourself to go ask for help, because people really struggle asking for help, because in the past, even it's still going on now, people consider that asking for help is a weakness. But we are realizing now that asking for help is a strength.
Okay, thank you. Right. Looking at what you did as a degree, I love the title. You have a bachelor's science in medical physiology and therapeutics. What does that mean?
So originally my career choice was to do medicine.
Right.
But in college, I didn't end up doing chemistry. So the subjects that I did, biology, chemistry, biology, psychology, and sociology. At the time, a lot of unis weren't accepting that to get in to do medicine. So I went down the other route of doing an allied science, which is my degree, medical physiology. And then my plan at the time was to do a graduate entry course in medicine. So then I would have done my degree, then done another 4 years to become a qualified doctor.
Okay. And if I may ask, what changed your mind about pursuing something in that line?
It actually began around COVID. That's when I noticed that my motivation for it was declined quite a lot. But I still went on to apply in my final year of uni. But by the time I applied, I knew that it probably wasn't the thing that I was going on to end up doing. So my course was hospital-based for the entirety of the course. So in my first year, I was on the hospital campus for all my lectures, all my lab sessions, everything. But as COVID hit, all of my lectures were then online. So I wasn't actively in the hospital. I wasn't surrounded by the doctors or the nurses, all the staff. So I kind of lost motivation to be a doctor because I wasn't in that environment anymore. And then as time went on, I kind of fell out of the passion to do it. So, yeah.
Right. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that with us. You said something that is...
Can you see us? We've got
Yes.
We've got a technical issue here. Our screen has just gone off.
No, I can see you well. I can see you just fine.
Okay. Continue then. Please come back.
Right. You said something that was key. COVID brought a lot of changes in people's lives. COVID has caused a lot of negatives, but also some positives. And having the time to stay at home and reflect on our choices and reflect on the things that we're doing has enabled people to make different choices. And secondly, you said about the environment. You were not in the environment that would have supported you to continue in that choice. Lectures being online, you not being surrounded by those doctors and those people who could have been role models for you to like, oh, if they're doing it, then I can too, is very key. These two things that you've said are quite pertinent because sometimes our young people are in environments where they don't see themselves doing the different roles that are very aspirational. Or they can be in an environment where it makes them reflect to see whether this thing that I chose, was it the right thing for me? Did I just choose it because it looked good, it was fancy, or it was a traditional thing to do? And so COVID really caused a lot of people to reflect, and a lot of people changed their choices, a lot of people changed their jobs, and a lot of things changed in the society. So obviously, as we can see, that impacted on your choices as well. And sometimes, well, not sometimes, Tony Robbins always says, life happens for me and not to me. And as such, COVID, for some people, COVID was devastating. And they made some choices that became negative for them. But even though COVID changed your choices, it led you to do something or in an area which is now being more profitable for you. So this is where we come to your entrepreneurship. What made you choose to become an entrepreneur instead of following the pathway to the doctor?
To be honest, originally I was never a person who always dreamed of having my own business. It wasn't really something that I had originally given much thought to, but I started my business when I was in my first year of uni. It actually started off as a hobby, but it was actually the encouragement of my friends around me to turn it into a business. But as I turned it into a business, I didn't enjoy it for the first few months because it became from a hobby to a business, which the transition can be quite difficult. And around that time, COVID also hit. So I wasn't actively practicing the craft. So I didn't feel like I was really growing. So I took some time off. But as I returned in my second year of uni, that's when I decided to give it another go. Yeah, I think I was just surrounded by people who also believed in me and pushed me to go ahead and follow doing it and give it a go. So then that's when I started investing in my business a lot more.
Okay, thank you for that. That you said quite a few things that your mom and I will identify with. Starting a business, sometimes we fall into it. We don't necessarily choose to become one. Because growing up, I identify with you. I never thought that I would be a businesswoman one day. It didn't even cross my mind that I could start a business. So I definitely identify with that fact that I fell into a business because of a passion that I had. Not necessarily a hobby. I was in the role doing the job that I was doing, and I discovered something that interested me and ignited this passion for me. What about you, Nelly? Sue has said that she fell into business without necessarily planning to go into it. How did you get into business?
Yeah, me too, the same like you and so on. Myself, I got into business during COVID. It seems as if, COVID did a lot of good and some bad. During COVID, I knew from my work that I wanted to do something else because I felt my work was quite satisfying as a social worker. That's something I'm passionate about. I still do it now. I was passionate about it, but I got to an extent and I was like, I've got more to my life than being just a social worker. But then when COVID hit, the pressure on social workers was too much. And it got to the extent where I suffered from work burnout and I had to terminate my contract with my employer because I didn't have, so I decided not to go back because I didn't have enough support. And I knew that if I go back, I will not be there for long, I'll come out. And the worst part was that my children were the ones who saw all that I went through. Because that's how I got myself into business when I didn't even plan for it. And I got into business when I didn't even know how to do a business, and I've just been learning till today. So yeah, I got into business just the same like you too.
Okay, thank you, Nelly. So everyone who's watching, see, these are accidental business women entrepreneurs. Now, you went into business. Can you tell us now what you do in your business? What's your craft? And what does it take to become a businesswoman like you?
So I'm a hairstylist. I construct, I install, I color wigs, and I also recently started teaching how to install and prepare wigs for styling.
Right. You've just said that as if it's just matter of fact. Like, it is just like a given that people just like do. No, you have to talk about your craft with some passion. You've said quite a few things there. You install wigs, you style hair, you craft the wigs yourself. Those are quite enormous skills that young people would love to learn, and you are teaching. So you're not only doing the work, you are empowering other young people to learn the craft. You're taking your passion, you turn it into a business, and you've turned it into an educational endeavor, which is quite a lot, considering that you are just in your early 20s, let's just say. We do not disclose ages. So you're a young lady, and so you went into this business accidentally, and now you're empowering other young people. How does it feel? How does it feel how do you see yourself when you teach other people? You're not long ago, you were a student, and now you're teaching other people. And you're not just teaching anything, you're teaching something that you love doing.
Sometimes it feels like it's part of the plan. Like it feels like it's just something that is expected to go as you start mastering your craft. I believe that once you master your craft, I think the only way to elevate yourself is to then share your skills with other people in other ways. So that's what I've been doing recently. So if it's been feeling quite good, it's been feeling quite rewarding, especially when I hear from my students that they've enjoyed the things that I've taught them and they've seen an improvement in their own skills having had the class. So it's definitely a rewarding thing, and it's good to know that so many people can recognize my work.
Oh, that's so good. I am just so proud of you. Awestruck. I am like, look, this is one of our children. And your mom should be very proud of you because Nelly, you should be very, very proud of Sue Ange because she is not only a role model to other people and to other young people. She is a testimony. She's a testament of what you guys have put in her, the work that you've done to bring her up. And I'm sure, like every other young person, she was stubborn in her own ways. She would have been rebellious in her own ways. But look at the seeds that you've sown and how they're bearing fruit. So it's something to be proud of. And we give God the grace. Thank God for your life, really. I know that this is not a religious show, but I'm a Christian and I will thank God for you. All right. Okay. So what is our next question? Let's see what we're talking about next. So
I think, yeah. So Ange, I know you've explained quite a lot, and from what I can, and you talked about being stubborn, which stubbornness, it depends on how people interpret the stubbornness, but stubbornness to an extent is you know what you really want, and regardless of external influences, you stick to what is within you. I know because I've read a lot and I've heard a lot that people have so much potential and most of it is in dormant, and young people included. So what advice would you give to your fellow young people that if they feel that they want to do something, how can they pursue what they really want?
I would say one of the most important things is just self-aware. Be self-aware of your own skills, be self-aware of the workload that you're about to commit yourself to do. Also be self-aware of the environment that you're in and how far it will take you as well. And also I feel like you need a lot of resilience in your mindset. If you know you can do something and you have the ability to do something, then just do it and be committed to doing it as well. And the last thing was probably also be invested. Don't go into something to be half-hearted. If you're going to go into it and you want it to benefit you well, you need to be wholeheartedly doing it.
Okay, thank you so much for that. But you kept saying something and you've repeated like 4 times that awareness. You know, this is something that, what is even awareness? Because most people don't even know who they are. Like in research I read, they said 85% of people don't know who they are. So self-awareness is not there. So if you are not aware of yourself, you are not aware of your strength, your lesser strength, how then will you pursue? So being self-aware is a whole process, which it's not, I will not ask you now because it's a whole process that is something we are really into it. We raise awareness into everything. So for that one, it's really good to hear that the point you've raised about self-awareness, resilience, emotional stability, and things like that, which is really important. I think now looking at the struggles that young people go through, those are skills or those are qualities that if young people can gain, then it will really profit them And I would believe that you empower your clients as well, because sometimes you act as mentors to your clients. They come to you with whatever they are struggling with, and you go in which you help them, because you have that resilience. You can listen to their issues, and then you know that you can go somewhere and offload me. Sometimes.
Yes, there's always this.
So that is
true.
really.
Let me just say this: that in a hairdressing salon, discussions come up, and as a hairdresser, you're some sort of a therapist without even having the qualification, because people really offload people. And when you love your customers, when you love what you do, and you create that connection with them, and you build that rapport with them, they'll open up to you. And so you may be styling their hair, but you're giving them more than just beautiful hair. You're giving them more, you're giving them an environment where they can feel comfortable. They can feel comfortable to share, they can feel comfortable to bring their friends. And so when you said something about focusing and, being steadfast in working on your craft and invested in bettering your craft. And as such, because sometimes we jump into things without even thinking about what it would take. So sometimes we do not count the costs, because being an entrepreneur is very costly to you as an entrepreneur, and to people around you, because you have to dedicate time and energy and stay focused to achieve the goal. So I am so happy that the things that you've said are quite powerful, not only to young people who are our target, but also to parents. So what would you advise parents and carers? How would to do if they have a young person that's struggling to motivate, to do the right things, to go to school, to study, what would you advise a parent or carer to do to empower their children?
I would say firstly to listen to them.
Okay.
Ask them why they don't want to do something or why they do want to do something, and also let them be their own person. Sometimes I feel like sometimes your parents around you, they kind of not force isn't the correct word, but they kind of offload their own personality onto their child instead of letting their child form their own personality. So I think it's important to let your child be their own person, make their own decisions, but still guide them and tell them this could be right, this could be wrong. And also don't let your experiences as a parent control your child's own experiences in the world. They should still be able to experience things that you didn't experience, things that you did experience. But again, just let your child have that opportunity to do it, instead of telling them no all the time to everything or yes all the time to everything. Tell them why you've agreed to do it this way, or let them have the opportunity at least once to make this decision by themselves. If it doesn't work, then they can come back and tell you, oh, it doesn't work. But I think if you always say to your child, don't do this, don't do that, do this, do that, then they'll never really form their own mind. They won't be able to express them the way that they want to. They'll always be looking for a way to express themselves in a way that resonates to you as the parent.
Wow, that's powerful, because
wow,
thank you so much for that.
You should be the parents. We should just come to your salon and come and listen.
Been talking about.
Wow,
and it feels different hearing it from the horse's mouth.
Yeah,
because you've said something there, and it's really true that parents project their fears onto their children in the form of overprotection or not protecting. But like you said, helping the children to be independent and making their own decision. If they make mistakes, they'll learn from the mistakes. But when you start stopping children to say, don't do this, especially without any reason, the children they'll become stubborn because they want to, what will happen if they do that thing? But unfortunately, it's easier for them to do the wrong thing and do it very, very bad. That will have damaging consequences, because when they get to that stage, they'll just do it because they don't know why. They'll just get into it. And again, self-regulation is very, very important. So thank you so much for all the points you've raised.
Yes, 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 yes. One key thing you said there is, parents, don't allow your experiences to color the way we look at our children. Don't allow your experiences to make you, like Nelly said, out of fear or out of overlove, to cuddle them. Allow them to explore, allow them to make mistakes, because a lot of us learn through mistakes. And if you have to make all the decisions for them, as they're growing older, they will not be able to make decisions for themselves. So we have to empower our young people to be able to make decisions. That is so good. Give them the knowledge and let them decide for themselves. Now, this has gone in ways that are even more interesting than I thought it would be at the beginning, because things are just coming out that fall in line with our mission and our vision for us as hand in hand and for the people that we work with. So thank you very much to Ange, because in effect, you have done our work for us. So what would you say to the audience? What is one piece of advice that you give to our audience?
Don't limit yourself.
Oh. Okay.
Do not limit
yourself.
You have touched the biggest thing that destroys us as individuals, as human beings. A tree will always grow to its full potential. If a tree is planted in soil and it's watered, it will grow as tall as God created it to grow. But only human beings have the capability of limiting themselves. We are the ones who stop ourselves from thriving, from excelling. So, Nelly, I don't know where you got this young girl from. I don't know the prayers that you prayed over her, but go on, tell her what you feel about her on live TV.
Okay. Okay. So Ange is my second daughter, and I'm always proud of her. I tell my children how I value them. I'm always proud of them. I'm proud of Sue. I love you so much. And she knows, because, and all the children, because I tell them every day, sometimes so many times in a day.
So, Mom, we know.
And I just thank God for everything, because I don't know what I've done, but God has done everything for me, my family, everyone that comes across my path. So
thank you for that. See, your mom is lost for words. That woman lost for words. Okay, right. So
yes, so just before we finish, I know, like, me and So are just on the opposite, because there she goes with that, and there I go. This is something we laugh about, because her friends would expect that I would have
wigs and long hair.
But I said I'm allergic to it, so that's why I prefer to go to the barbers. And sometimes the barbers do my hair as if I'm a man. But anyway, so just some of our audiences might want to contact you so they can have a feel of your handwork. So how can they contact you? Where can they contact you?
So my Instagram is essay with 2 R's. You can find me on Instagram, and there is a website link in my bio if you want to click that to book.
Can you spell that? Let me put it in the comments so that people can see it. So is
S-A,
S-A,
full stop,
yep,
air with 2 R's.
eh?
So that's H-A-I-R-R.
Yeah.
Okay, S-A hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the branding that we can.
S-A, so it's at S-A hair.
Yeah.
Okay. Suange hair. Okay, beautiful. All right. Right, so we are going to put your contact details on our page so that people can find you, people can contact you and get their hair done. So, dear audience, I hope you have enjoyed this session. I hope you have seen that we have young people who are role models and who can hold your hand and show you the way forward. If you're struggling to know where to go, which direction to take, and you do not want to talk to your parents or you do not want to talk to your teachers, you can contact us hand in hand. And as parents as well, if you're struggling to find out information of where to go for support or guidance, contact us. We do not have all the information, but we'll give you what we do have, because we're here to hold each other's hand and to work together to empower our community and the people around us. So visit us on our website at handhandcommunitycic.com, handhandcommunitycic.com, or send us a message on Facebook. Nelly.
Yeah, thank you so much. And like we say, we have different topics that we cover. If you are interested to be one of the panel members, please get in contact with us. If you have a topic that you would like us to have a conversation around, you can contact us either by message on WhatsApp or Messenger, and then we'll get back to you to plan that. So yeah, that's all I have for today. And thank you so much for watching. And just one word that Sue said, Sue said, do not limit yourself.
Yes, definitely. So thank you, Suange, for honoring us and coming and sharing your wisdom with us. We believe, as hand in hand, Nelly and I will believe that we do not only learn from adults, we learn from children and everybody around us. So we are happy to learn. So if you have friends who you think can come on the show and share their own stories as well of how they've overcome certain trials and tribulations or overcome obstacles and are now thriving. We love to hear stories like that so that we encourage one another, and you are a role model to other people who have listened to this. And as such, they'll know that there are people making it out there who look like me, who can start a business from their passion and, help to teach other people. So thank you again for joining us, and God bless you.
Thank you so much, and see you next week.